Welcome to Alabama Manufacturing Now, hosted by Alabama Technology Network, a podcast where we cover a wide array of challenges, solutions, and innovations for manufacturers.
We're your host, Whitney Barlow, Supplier Development Manager.
And I'm Paige Caulfield, Marketing and PR Manager. Hey, and welcome back to Manufacturing Now. We are so happy that you're back with us today. We are here with Lewis Johnson and Brandon Lineberry. Brandon works with ATN and Lewis is with Johnson Labs, one of our lovely clients. And I'm going to ask Lewis, tell us a little bit about Johnson's Labs and the history there.
Okay. Well, actually, I got inspired to start the company at my 10-year class reunion. Actually, one of my friends, he and I have a common love of hunting, and come to find out he had a product for hunting in Walmart. And I was just taken back by that and thought it was amazing. And I said, you know, if my friend can do that, then as a chemist, by training, I can do that as well. So actually, the company began in my wife's kitchen, and it grew from there.
Wonderful. Now, where are y'all located?
We're in Troy, Alabama, and it's Pike County.
Okay. All right. And what's the size of the company?
Well, right now we probably have 17 employees. It depends. The company is seasonal somewhat, so we'll have more employees at certain times of the year than at others.
Okay. And was it always that small? Has it always been that small?
Well, actually, it was smaller.
Oh, wow.
For a number of years when I ran it. We had about 5 employees that we kept, and about the time that I wanted to go full-time into the pastoring, my wife took over. She retired from teaching, and the company just really took off. One of our customers that I had for a number of years wanted us to manufacture for them, and package for them. Oh. So it really exploded to the point where we tripled our employees.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about what exactly it is that you do at Johnson Labs.
Okay, we are a chemical manufacturer, so we produce a line of cleaning chemicals, industrial type chemicals, agricultural chemicals, and hunting and fishing chemicals. I've been fortunate to have a number of patents. I think I've got 14 patents. Some of those products that we actually manufacture and sell, and then we'll also duplicate products for people as well. So there's probably a couple of hundred products that we do.
So you're telling me that you have a fishing product where I can catch the biggest bass I've ever fished for?
If you hold your mouth right, yeah. Yes.
And your cleaning supplies, are they just for industrial, or do you have some for just basic commercial? Like, what exactly do the cleaning supplies do?
Yeah, we normally sell to like restaurants that they would use to clean their kitchen, their dishes, things like that. But some of them are actually, good for, just a common household. My patented cleaner is called Oxy Orange. It's an all-purpose environmentally friendly cleaner. It'll clean anything from glass to the toughest, grease that you have on your pots and pans. So it's a great product. It's also great in laundry as well. It's a pre-spotter. So that's been a good product for us. But we have a wide range of cleaning products for many different uses.
I need to get some Oxy Orange.
You said it's a degreaser, so could it be a degreaser for industrial as well?
It is. Some applications is probably not as good as some of the more caustic type products. It's good on organic stains and dirts,
okay.
And a lot of the other ones are good on inorganic things like just regular grease from working in a mechanic environment.
So it's a great product for companies to use, and then you also are going to help me kill the biggest buck or take the biggest buck I can take, right?
If you hold your mouth right. Exactly.
All right, I'm going to jump over to Brandon Lineberry. Brandon, tell us a little bit about your background and what you do for ATN.
Sure. So previous to ATN, I worked in the automotive sector for a couple of years, automotive foundry, and we were a Ford supplier of aluminum castings. And so that's where I began my lean journey. And I went to a school, and they trained me, and I was the CI leader at that organization. And then I worked in the chemical industry for a while. My background's chemical engineering. So I worked as a process engineer for a couple of years, and now I've been at ATN 21 years, focusing primarily on the continuous improvement methods, and primarily in that lean manufacturing processes.
Okay, and for some of our listeners out there who might not know the term lean, try to explain that to them.
Sure. So it came out of the Toyota production system. It was a study done by some guys out of MIT where they went over and studied the Toyota production system, and they just coined the term lean manufacturing. Okay. Good, bad, and different, but that's just the term. You can Google that, and there's hundreds of books and stories and research on that particular subject. And it's really about, sometimes it may have a negative connotation when people hear lean. We want to lean something out. People may think, oh, we're going to get rid of our people. Well, it's really not that. If you really understand the concepts, it is a growth strategy, which if you think about the Toyota production system, Toyota's the largest automotive manufacturer in the world. They're always growing.
Yeah.
Fits perfect with a growing organization as Johnson Labs. And it's about removing waste out of a process, things you're trying to remove, the non-value added, as we call them, and always trying to streamline operations in this lean process.
Great. All right. So if you'll just give us just 1 second, we are actually going to make a switcheroo real quick to Karla Johnson, who also works at Johnson's Lab. All right. We're back with Karla Johnson with Johnson's Lab. Karla, tell us, what is your role with Johnson's Lab?
Well, since Lewis started pastoring full-time, he handed the baton of being CEO off to me. And so since then, we've gotten our woman-owned business certification. We actually were a woman-owned business in our stock divisions for many, many years since his mom was part of the company. But we're official now.
Wow.
So I'm a retired public school teacher, and I never, ever, ever thought I would enjoy doing what I'm doing so much.
So how did you at Johnson's Lab first hear about ATN and y'all connect together?
You know, I didn't really think it was just a God appointment, because I was just at work one day and someone from the community college system came in and just kind of said, hey, I want to see what y'all do and how we can help you. And I said, well, you know what? We need some forklift training. And so he helped me write a grant, introduced me to one of the ATN people. And from there, we just started writing grant after grant and working. And now when I write a state grant, ATN is my trainer every time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That is fantastic. Brandon, I know that you have provided some of the training for Johnson's Lab. Can you speak on that training and what all we have provided for them?
Absolutely. We would go back, I can't remember the year, we'll just say 3 years, maybe somewhere in that ballpark. So we'll just say the first series of training. She talks about these different grants. So we kind of took a batch of training. The first batch included just some basic concepts of lean. We call it the Introduction to Lean class, or our Lean 101 class. We also had in there some 5S training, which is the workplace organization, a little bit of quick changeover. And one of the things we really pride ourselves in ATN is we don't want to just do the training. And so we back that up with what we call Kaizen events. And so it was applications on the shop floor where we went out and we did a 5S event in one area and organized that. And that's really where the learning occurs for the staff and the team members at those organizations when they see it in their own environment. Then we also did a quick changeover in kind of that where they mix the chemicals up. And then we also did an event in the back where they store some cold storage, and it was sort of a mess at the time.
No, sort of. It was terrible.
No offense. And then I remember Jeff Palmer came in, and we kind of added some lighting to the area, and we got some racking in there. Because one of the things, one of the big deals was every needed to be traceable back to every batch had a unique identifying number. Right. And so if you're running a batch and you can't continue that run, then you're just in there looking for things. And so we went in there, we really organized based off the run number, we'll call it, to organize it by number. And so it really helped the efficiency of that operation. And then so once we kind of got the operation, felt like a little, more stable, more organized. Then we sort of tail ended that with the value stream map, which is, if you read the books, they'll say, start with value stream. But if the company don't understand the lean concepts first, then the future state's not very aggressive.
Right.
So then we came in and we did a value stream on the Johnson Lab chemical processing area. And one thing that was that we noticed in the very beginning was there was a lot of what we call work in process in the middle of the process. I'm going to say 50 drums. I know I may be exaggerating.
I don't think at all.
And they were partials, and there were all these different chemicals, as Lewis was alluding to. There was a lot of different product types, but they were work in process. They were in drums. They don't sell, I don't think, any in drums. It's all sold in gallon, quarts, containers and cases and things like that. And so when we saw all this inventory taking up valuable shop space, and what we did a Pareto analysis and determined the 80-20, 80% of their volume was 20% of their products. We took those 20%, the oxy-orange, the other very high volume units, and created a supermarket at the very end of the process. So now what that did allowed the customer, besides having, take an order, well, we got to bottle it and got to get it on our schedule. Now they're able to call in and they've got a finished product on the shelf ready to go. Same day they can get it out. And so it was a pull system for the customer to pull those 80, the high volume, 80% volume products out of there. And if there was a make to order, then that would have to be a little bit longer lead time. But again, 80% of their volume was these few SKU numbers, and that just began. And I could go on because it's been such. And one of the big things about Johnson Labs is the training is we don't make the training successful at ATN. It's the company that executes all those things. And that's been what's so successful in this relationship with Johnson Labs. And we come back and we do follow-ups, and it's even gotten better. There's even more organization. They're streamlining all these different operations. And so we had a training, this past year that I think it blew us all away on the amount of capacity we were able to get through this certain bottling operation.
Right.
We had some numbers written down, and we'd done all these things, and we left, and Karla come back, and she said, we I don't know the number, but we just wanted to high five all of us who worked on that project.
Right,
Go
exactly.
team.
Yes, go team. And it's been a team effort from ATN. Let me make that clear. We brought in Jarrett Choate, Jeff Palmer, Heath McNaughton, Jimmy Marley. I mean, we've all, I think Tim Gates even came down and talked about a management system. So we've tried to, from our end, provide all the resources for her small business.
And, that's the thing that I love about ATN is one thing is that they listen to us, and they have so much more experience than I do, for sure, because I was changing careers. And so they've been able to kind of guide me and say, if you'll do this little thing, you'll see growth, and then we can tackle the next thing. And, to me, the sign of a good training is that it's still being used 2 or 3 years later. And that cold room that y'all reorganized for us, we still use that same process in the supermarket area, and our customers love that. So it's not just about how you guys are helping us, but it's about how you're helping even create a better image with our customers. So it's not just about the processes.
I think that's a great point because Lewis said earlier that he built Johnson's Labs off a concept from high school reunion and that he knew he could do it as well.
Yeah.
A lot of small companies come from the concept of this is something I want to do. I really feel a need or desire or a niche in the market that I can step into, but understanding the processes and understanding how to make it efficiently run, you've got the brainchild, you've got the concept.
Right.
But you don't always understand those things. And tell us one thing that you noticed almost out the gate with ATN training that you saw an impact in the labs part and the processing and the warehouse part.
There's so much. It's not just about the processes, it's about the people. And from the ATN people to our people that work at Johnson Labs. And so we provide more jobs. We've been able to grow because of the training that we had at ATN. And I think about where we started and how this sounds, and it sounds like we just were a hot mess, and I guess we really were. But if you remember in the back part of the warehouse, it was almost just all junk storage, except the one little part that we were actually using for packaging. And so you guys helped us make that usable, productive space. And when you come into the warehouse now, we're using every square inch. And we could not have grown. We could not have had an opportunity with new companies, new clients, if we had not been able to get that organized. But our employees, our people there they're so proud, because of this training of 3 or 4 years. We are very proud that we were Alabama Small Manufacturer of the Year this year. So
Congratulations.
But our people are so proud of that. I cannot tell you how many times we've been talking about work wins or the best thing from last year, and they bring that up. And so we've seen them rise to a new level. We've put in training programs with our employees where they're in charge of their own raise, but it's all based on how they're doing the 5S or 6S and how they're using the training. And it's been phenomenal. So it's not just growing Johnson Labs, it's growing the people as well.
Which is extremely important. So you just mentioned that your back of your warehouse had like probably most of our houses and probably a lot of people's companies, you have a section that's got a lot of junk in it, or it's become storage. And so when they helped you figure out how to use that every square inch, my guess is that the thought process was probably we're going to have to build, because you're like,
right,
we have all this.
I had already talked to a builder.
So you have a decrease in capital investment because now the space was already there.
Right.
And in times where I think that's one thing that people overlook with the lean process in both companies and probably people's houses as well, is that if you're not using the space properly,
right,
it tends to take over.
And what I loved about it was Brandon and Jeff and all of them, they rolled up their sleeves and they got after it with us. They didn't just come in and write down a bunch of recommendations that we had to try to squeeze in time to do later. It was real-time change, real-time processes. And that's what made it so successful for us, because I don't have time for a high-price consultant to come in and tell me what to do later. That's not going to work in my world.
You need it right then, right now.
Right.
So how would you say the quality of the training for ATN was?
Every time it has exceeded our expectations. The first time they were coming in for a Kaizen event, I was extremely nervous. I mean, it's like somebody coming into your laundry room and seeing your mess.
Secret.
Yes. And I wasn't sure that I really wanted to do that. But they came in and they helped. They made suggestions. They didn't push, except for the hole that you want to cut in my wall. But
it's still on my mind.
yeah, we're not doing that. But no, they do. They listen to us and they help us solve our own problems. So when they leave, we become better problem solvers. We know how to listen to the people who work in the back. And so consequently, I've been able to work less and less in the warehouse and do more of my CEO job and not feel like I have to check in all the time. So it has grown our people to the point that they are doing a fantastic job. And I was telling Brandon this morning, we broke a new record as far as getting product out just this week. So very exciting.
That warms my soul so much, y'all. You just don't know. We do a lot of work with a lot of companies, and when we hear that, that's why we do what we do as a facilitator at ATN.
Yeah, that's great. So what is one thing that you would say that Johnson's Labs can take away from ATN's training? If you had to choose one.
It has transformed the way we do work, because we grew so fast overnight, from 5 employees, and some of those were part-time, to 19 overnight. We knew we had to go to a true manufacturing model where everybody knows. I think to answer that question, I would say would be the pitch times. We've been able to go through all of our products And not only do they know what products to pull and what components, but we have the pitch time on every production sheet. And so in the morning, we know. And we were having problems. We weren't hitting goals. So when we started putting that pitch time on the worksheets, instead of just saying, hey, guys, we got to get 2 pallets out today or 3 pallets out, no, we know how much we need to get in an hour. And not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to stay at that pace. But the supervisors, the leads, they know this is what we can do. And so it has changed our work model. And I really think that's why we hit a new record last week.
Brandon, so at ATN, we tend to refer to our clients as partners, not so much clients. So describe the relationship you have, the partner relationship that you feel like you've built with Karla and Johnson's Labs, and where that partnership is today.
It is probably the strongest one, and I've got, in ATN with Karla and her group. I know them all by name, Brittany and Janice and Jennifer and the whole team there. And I feel like it's not even just a partner. It's like we have a friendship there. So it goes deep. And we're trying to provide sources, but even on the personal level, I talk about friendship. So I got myself in a bind one year when I scheduled something without thinking, and my wife was not happy about this because it was on our anniversary.
Oh, no.
And so we're talking partnership, relationship, client here, right? So I'm sort of scrambling. I'm doing an overnight stay in Troy, Alabama. My wife works; she's a nurse. She works part-time, but she was going to be able to travel up. And I was like, Karla, help, please. So she had this big list of restaurants, the B Graves, and the sweet place to go afterward, and a place to visit. And I pulled the rabbit out of the hat that night. And I got out of the ditch. And Karla just did all that. She didn't have to. Does that make sense? The relationship she's trying to help me out. I'm trying to help her out. And that's what we want to do here.
Well, that just expounds on what Karla's been talking about this entire time, of how she feels like y'all came in and really helped her grow and expand. And that's the premise of all the partnership or friendship,
right,
is that you're there for each other. And I am so glad that she bailed you out.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Just a couple weeks ago, we were having an issue with a machine, and I had an idea of what we might be able to do. And I picked up the phone and called Jeff, and you happened to be there, I think. And I was like, hey, could we possibly do this, And so it becomes that business partnership, that business friendship, that it's not just a training company.
Well, that leads to, I've only been with ATN for a couple of years, and people ask me all the time what sets ATN apart. So for both of you, what do you think? Because, Brandon, you said you've been with ATN for
21 years, correct.
21 years. And y'all have worked together for,
I think, about 4 years.
4 years.
Okay.
So what do y'all think makes ATN unique?
Well, with my experience as a public school teacher, I have been through lots of trainings. And the best thing to me is the results. You guys know how to not only get results, but how to convey it to our team. And I always hated trainings where, you just go to this training and you're supposed to do it later. I wanted something that I could leave that training with something in my hand that was useful for me and my students. And that happens every time with ATN. And I don't want to throw Lewis under the bus here, but every now and then he would be like, are you sure you can afford to have time away from production for this training? And he's even said, wow, I can't believe how much you guys get out of that. And every time y'all come, I make him tour through the warehouse again. Look what we did,
Right.
It's possible.
Yes.
And I also want to say, if we think back in the previous story where we started out with what we're calling stability tools, just 5S, workplace organization. And then if you hear what Karla was talking about, the pitch boards, so one of the strengths of ATN that we bring to the table is our experience. That's probably the number one thing we bring to the table Anyone can learn concepts, but we have experience, good, bad. Okay. So one of the things, as we formulated this training plan for her as she's growing her business, right, we would never start with that pitch board. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right.
Because we weren't ready for the pitch board.
Right.
But sure, her processes were stable. We finally got to a place where the understanding of the team members were ready, and we combined this concept called Kata Kaizen, where we went in and really focused on not only the improvement, the physical moving around and streamlining, but then how are we going to sustain it? And that's one of the keys that she's talking about is this Kata, this coaching concept that Heath McNaughton and him and Mark Thompson came in, and they really, I think Mark was the one who helped create so it's a team effort here. We're bringing in our best resources with the experience to try to help the organization.
Karla, with ATN's training, did it open any new opportunities for Johnson's Lab?
Absolutely. In fact, we have a new contract that we think we're getting an order from next week that will actually go overseas. And that could not have happened if we didn't have the space and the understanding. And actually now we have pivoted part of the business. I don't even think you know this, so that we are helping entrepreneurs take their products from a 1 gallon, trial batch to full production.
Wow.
And so we now know how to lay it out for them and help them start production.
Wow.
So that the student has become the teacher.
That's it. That's really our model, right? I mean, we don't engage a client and say we want to continue to just invoice you, right?
Right.
We try to what we call train the trainer and go, not to say go to the next client, but there's several in Alabama that we want to get to.
Well, and that's the thing. We've had our own Kaizen events. I know 2 that we've done full-blown Kaizen, charts on the wall and everything. You would be so proud.
Sure.
In the last 2 years. But we also, I totally lost it.
You have so you do the Kaizen event so you did them by yourself.
By ourselves.
Without Brandon, because I don't know if I'd be able to do that by myself without Brandon.
Right.
But they helped you so much through that you feel like on your own until
Yeah.
you can take the leadership role.
Right. But one of my fears is that y'all will leave me. That if we learn to do this too well on ourselves. But I do love to have ATN come back every year because we're very seasonal. We have new employees. I want them to understand Lean 101 from the experts. I could probably teach it, but it's not the same. And I can tell very well the employees who have had that training and who have not. And then I am able to refer to it. Remember when we did the tube factory? Remember? So it is helpful.
Well, it's not like a parent. A parent can't tell a child what to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
I remember I don't know if Karla remembers this. So I sort of get uncomfortable a little bit when we transition a client over. And so I remember there was an event, we'd been doing them, and of course I like to do everything, like let me do all this and that. And then this was sort of the time where I'm thinking, Karla needs to take on this. And I said, well, Karla, you're going to do that.
Yeah, I kind of backed
She kind of backed up a little bit. I was like, I hope we're okay. I was sort of nervous about that, but it was really, you only learn if you do, right? And so if I continued to do all the planning and everything, I would be her crutch.
Right.
And so then when she did it and I got there, of course, if you know Karla, she had it to the T, every I dotted, and it was fantastic. And she did it all. I mean, it was great. It was planned, and it was a very successful event. But that's where we try to grow our businesses.
And I think it was after you pushed me to do that we actually did our own. And it was, we literally rearranged our entire filling room without you. And then the next time y'all came and rearranged it again.
Well, there was different products at that point,
and
right?
different machines.
Right, yeah.
So that matters. What do you think? So ATN is what we are known for throughout the state. It says Alabama Technology Network.
Right.
Do you think there's any part that companies or manufacturers get misconstrued about ATN and who we are and what we do?
Yes. One thing is the name is a little bit misleading, just like Johnson Labs is. People think we do medical supplies. That's okay. We do your research degree. But the other thing is I think people think that ATN is about big companies and about checking the boxes for OSHA training or whatever. But it's so much more than that. They do help with OSHA training, but just like the forklift training, we knew we needed to do that for OSHA. But then they did train the trainer, so now we do our own forklift training. And it's that personalized education plan, if you will, that ATN has, that they do a phenomenal job of customizing the training for every company, every size company, whatever you need. They have a gift of looking at what you need and customizing training for you.
We haven't mentioned that Brandon does do CI, but Brandon also teaches L&D. He and I work together for a little bit with that, and I think that's something that y'all have hinted to with our teachers, is that they go across different teams. So you could get Brandon and Mark and someone come in, and they're so diverse in what they can teach you. Mm-hmm. You're getting a little bit of leadership and a little bit of safety on top of what you're actually there, and I think that's very beneficial for a small company.
Yes. I do think that whatever our training is, we do get more than just that because of their experience.
I agree.
Well, Brandon, Karla, we thank you so much for being with us today. Karla, will you tell everybody how to contact you if they would like to discuss any cleaning supplies or how to catch a big doe or...
Yes, we have a website, johnsonlabs.com. It's JOHNSONLABS, johnsonlabs.com. And our phone number is 334-566-9152.
Wonderful. And Brandon, how can people reach out to you if they need a little bit more information on training?
Sure. Email blineberry@atn.org or phone 334-456-1161.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you listening in with us today, and we will see you next time.